So I'm about to make an admission. Biggest regret of my life ever was not signing up to have my name sung in 3, 4, 5-part harmony on Their Names Escape. Okay? Guys, you have no idea how much I'm hurting and how long I've been hurting over this. I didn't read the email, I messed up, I didn't do it, I didn't do the executive producer thing but on the next album. So I missed that. And I lecture to my students about the music business and different ways on how to make money out of music. Innovations and ideas and clever stuff to do. And this is one of the smartest things ever done, just to make a little bit of money, a little bit of extra money on a crowdfunding thing.
All right, what's your name?
Nick.
Nick what?
Nick Matsoukas.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Okay,
ready? Video time.
Nick Matsoukas. All
I
right.
missed it, guys. You gotta do it one more time. So.
Ready?
Ready?
Now we have to mess up the harmony.
3, 4.
Nick Matsoukas.
I can live the rest of my life in peace. Thank you, gentlemen.
That makes one of us.
Do you have to do that for everybody now?
Okay, so I was for real. I have one for Rich Mauser.
I thought you were joking.
No, I never joke. I never joke. So, Rich, I need to know the significance of toothpicks in the studios. Please. Not a planned question at all. No, we don't have the involvement of Mr.
Well,
Chris.
if anybody's been to my studio, the Mouse House, they'll know the toothpicks is holding it all together. If it wasn't for toothpicks, it'd all fall apart. But no, the serious thing is that I've got an old mixing console from the 1980s. It's got these little switches in it, and when you press down the switch, it latches to press to engage an EQ or an insert point where you hook a compressor or something. And what happens is these little things inside it break, these little latch switch things. And you know, you got two choices. You can either buy a switch for like $30 for one switch, and then you got to take the whole thing apart and put it in, or you can just use a toothpick to stick in there and hold it in when you want it, and pull the toothpick out when you don't want it to be engaged. So I figured it's a lot cheaper to buy toothpicks than it is a bunch of switches.
And so, what about the tape labeling?
We were good getting on this one the other day. It's like
This guy, he's a unique guy, man. So, you know, in most studios, when they get the level that they want on the fader, a lot of times they'll put a piece of tape there, a clean white piece of tape, and they'll make a little marker. But he didn't want to waste any. He didn't want to waste any tape.
I didn't want to waste tape. See, so I used to, you know, when you buy cassettes back in the day, they give you those little cassette labels to label them up. Well, I had so many of those laying around that I just use those little cassette label tapes and just string them together and make one long piece of it.
Yes, but he didn't ever use a whole one. He didn't want to waste a whole
I
cassette label.
so
there's all kinds of little tiny pieces of the cassette labels all over his board. What is that? Oh, that's marking where the keyboard level is.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
You only needed, you know, why use a piece of tape like this when you're only going to make one little mark? I mean, you only need a piece of tape that big, right? We won't get into that, but
that's why he makes great sounding records.
I care about the sound more about the aesthetics.
Obviously. Yeah.
Obviously.
That explains the shorts.
Hey! Come on, my legs, man, these aren't that
I have
bad,
nothing
really.
against your shorts.
They sound great.
They smell great?
They sound great.
Oh, they sound great. Better than they smell great. Okay, that's
right. Rich Mauser and his shorts.
Okay, my name is Dale. I'm a recovering prog addict. Thank you. My question is mainly for Neil, and this is a really serious question, but anybody can answer. You have songs, you know, you have Snow, you have things like Walking on the Wind, other titles, Ride the Lightning, Crack the Big Sky. Do you just have an obsession with the weather?
Actually, that's my wife that has the obsession with the weather. She watches the Weather Channel all the time. I don't know. I suppose it just sounds, those dramatic things, the storms and the imagery stuff, really. So, not really, actually.
So, understand that, the band that's up there right now covers many years and iterations of the band, but just wondering from your perspective, each person, what's your favorite song, Spock's Beard song to play individually? And Rich, you can just chime in with your favorite Spock song that you have.
To play.
That's easy for me. I like to play Go the Way You Go. That's a real fun one.
Right on.
Yeah, Go the Way You Go is a great live song to play. Walking on the Wind is another one for me.
End of the day. Or, and to the other extreme, Submerged.
Excellent.
For the opposite reasons.
Sure.
Space. The sexiness of it all.
Oh yeah.
Actually, from that album, the funnest song to play from that album for me was Afterthoughts, because of the vocal counterpoint that harkens back to days of old, but also because it's kind of, I don't know, there's parts of it that are mindless and just rockin', and so I love those moments sometimes. Strange, very something? Something very strange?
Yeah, something very strange.
Oh yeah, that's a good song.
Well, I'm going to say, just because I've been listening to Snow lately, and I haven't listened to it in years, but this is strictly for production, maybe not, of course I'm not, just from the production side, I'm the guy.
Oh.
Just because it's just wacky production, and I just can crank that up on a stereo, and it's just really wide and open, and so.
Nick, come on.
I'm not sure if I know how to answer that. There's just too many. From, I guess, Spock's Part 2, one of my favorite things to ever perform on stage with the guys was Surfing Down the Avalanche.
Yeah.
I really just enjoyed singing that song, and these guys just rock out so hard on that song. It's really, really fun. I guess early in the, I don't know, man. Walking on the Wind was always really fun to play. What was really fun to play actually was The Light back in the early days. And all our first early tours, it was always just looking straight into the light. There was such a hugeness to playing that song. It was really just a lot of fun. And then another really fun one for me to sing and be out front one was The Emperor's Clothes. Al's tune from X was a blast to sing and play guitar on. It was
Nice.
I love when we do groovy, kind of straight-ahead songs in this band. I mean, all the prog stuff is, and the weirdness is fantastic too. Straight-ahead songs always kind of, I just love the pocket that we got together.
I really enjoyed doing Harm's Way.
Oh yeah. Forgot about that one. That was a great one too.
That was a good one for me.
Hey guys. Question for really anyone who wants to jump in on this. Has there been a CD that you made in the past that you weren't that sure about, a little less confident about, that you went back to years later and you're like, why was I so uncertain about that? This just blows me away. Something that's aged really well.
I thought when I first heard the mixes of the Light album that we were for sure going to have to remix it. I was really upset about it. That we mixed it in 3 7-hour days and everybody had their hands on their own faders. Dave was underneath the console with his hand up like this on the bass faders.
Is that what he's doing?
And I thought, when you leave musicians in charge of their own levels, it's probably not the best idea. Dangerous. So there was stuff that jumped out that I thought was just way too loud, and we couldn't afford to redo it. What were we gonna do? And it was actually Kevin Gilbert that changed my mind on that. He had talked to me about it and said, well, it's actually, the mix is one of my favorite things about it. And I was like, really? I thought it was horrible, and and now I listen to it, and it just is what it is, and I love it.
Well, on a note, somebody told me that Roger Daltrey was completely unhappy with Quadrophenia mix. He always wanted it remixed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's not mixing it with my record.
Neil, this is for you. I've been wanting to ask you this for a lot of years if I was ever going to get the chance, so this is good.
I don't know what it means either.
It's not actually one of those types of questions. I think the crowd here will get a kick out of this, but back when you made the announcement in 2002 that you were leaving the band, Mike Portnoy made a post on his message board, which it's real quick, I just want to read it. It says the following: as a friend, I'm trying to be understanding and as supportive as I can be. As a part-time band member, I'm just honored and privileged to have had the opportunity to work with him, as I consider him a musical genius. And as a fan, I'm sad and disappointed at the loss of one of my favorite songwriters. It surely is shocking, and it also spells the end of Transatlantic, as I wouldn't possibly consider continuing it without him. I'm wondering, were you aware of this post at the time, or through the years has Mike brought this message to your attention, or has anybody else for that matter? And the second part of my question is, how do you feel about that now, knowing that this really didn't spell the end of anything with Mike? You guys have gone on to make 2 more Transatlantic records, 2 Flying Colors records, and 8 solo records with you. A lot of people didn't know where you were headed at that time, musically, if anywhere. And that's kind of interesting to look back on his comments there, so I'd like to hear what you have to say about it.
No, I never had heard that till now. I'm not much of an internet reader. My family has to fill me in on things. And I don't think anybody knew. I didn't know where I was going. I just felt like God was calling me, and I didn't have anything, I didn't know what was beyond the door. And so I think we've all been surprised. Nobody had a crystal ball. Nobody knew what was going to happen, but it's been really good.
Hi guys. First of all, thank you for all the great music. As a police officer coming from Chicago, it's gotten me through some real low times, so I appreciate it. And I first started with the light. And then, you influenced me to see the real light, so I appreciate that. And given the popularity of your music increasing, as well as the staying power of snow, is there any reasonable expectation we could see a snow 2?
Well, the Oakley's yard, I don't know.
We just sleet, baby. Sleet this time? Sleet?
That's right. Well, we got to ask a similar question like that with the crowd earlier, and you can never say never really, but I think the fact that we're doing these and we have the one other gig in Germany in a couple weeks, and we're just coming at this as we're doing these 2 shows, and it's all about these shows. And we're not thinking about the future. We don't want to put any pressure on anything like that, and any kind of other thoughts. We just want to do these shows to the best of our ability and have a really good time, and then we'll see whatever happens in the future. It's just really great that we can all be on the same stage together again after all these years and have a good time.
Hello. First, I just want to thank you last night from the Storytellers, the story with the storm. That quote that you did, that the lady said, I thought it hit me very hard, and I appreciate that very much. Now this question is for 4 of the 5 original members, excluded on this one, sorry. I read testimony when I was in the hospital, and he basically said what he felt your reactions were when he told you he was leaving the band, that you made snow and everything. How did you think he was nuts? How did you feel about it? Really? And short things, nothing long, nothing long stories, but you know what I mean. I understand how his feelings were when he left. Just wondering how you guys were.
Just surprised, kind of like a little dumbfounded, didn't see it coming, that kind of thing. It's just was the starting point of a whole new thing. So at that particular moment, we didn't see that, but I mean, it was a surprise. I think was probably the best word to describe, at least for me.
Right, okay. So, you know, of course, we were shocked. I'm totally shocked. I have to try. I have to give up a lot of gigs. I was playing when I started Sparksville. I was playing with the People Rising, and that tour had a conflict with the Sparks, so I got fired. And right after that, Naughty Cole was doing a tour with Naughty. Then that didn't work out between them. So I just Sparks built up my life, and he writes all the song, he sings, plays, and no, he's a Sparks leader, right? So he left. I said, oh my goodness, what am I gonna do right now? But when Dave, he told me, well, look, he gave us a Sparks view. He created. So we just have to keep going. We just have to keep going. He gave us the gift. He gave us the, everything, songwriting and record company and tour and everything. He's the reason. So now he's big, okay. We just have to understand it. We have to keep going. That's what Dave told us. Okay, yeah, that's right. That is right.
We built it together. We built it together.
But you're the reason.
Well,
I love you.
I floundered around forever. I didn't have any success until we did this together. Everybody brought their element. And that's just a fact. People love the band. I mean, they appreciate my writing and everything that I brought to it, but they appreciated everything you all brought to it too. Still do.
Still do.
The thing that was weird about the way the band started, we didn't get together for any particular reason or motivation. And we just kind of felt compelled. You wrote those songs and everyone wanted to do it and we didn't really know why. It's like we just kind of need to do it. It'll be a challenge, it'll be fun. And, it just kind of happened really without any outside motivation. And I think that was a really strong, strong reason that it was really kind of a miracle that it was successful. We had no idea that there was even a Prague audience. And we didn't care. We just said, well, we're just going to do this. Our girlfriends might like it, a couple buddies.
Girlfriends?
Way off the mark on that.
No support from anyone except our immediate friends, but we didn't know there was a Prague audience even. And then we played that one show, and we were a band all of a sudden.
I didn't even think that there would be any guys like you that would even want to play this kind of stuff. Like real guys that were playing like real gigs. I thought, oh, they won't want to do this. There's no money in it. And it's crazy, But I was just amazed at how it all came together.
I've often told the story about how you told me when you stopped really trying to go for that fame, go for that hit song, and go for that is when you just gave it all up and said, I'm just going to do what I want to do and I don't care what comes of it. And you had the most success just following your heart of what you want to do versus trying to fit into whatever you thought was required to be a star, in Hollywood or whatever.
Right, yeah. I gave up trying to be successful, and then that's when we got success. I followed my heart right into the Catfish Man. And
I got a gig. Had he not, it sounds funny, we laugh at it, but had he not left, I wouldn't have got the call from him. So sometimes what seems to be, oh, this is a terrible thing, oh my God. It depends on your perspective.
Hence the storm.
And sometimes change is violent and difficult. Nevertheless, it has to happen. And it's proved to be very powerful for him and very powerful for all of us, as individuals and as a band.
Well, history has proven that there has been no shortage of Neil's music since then. So you've gotten that, and you've gotten these two iterations of this this band, these two versions of this band. And I remember the first time, well, the second tour I was on with Spox, when I was singing for Enchant, and we were touring with Spox. People kept, like, fans of Enchant would come up to me and say, "So, what do you think about the new version of Spox?" And, you know, they were hoping I was going to, like, say something, you know, horrible or something. I'm like, if you had never heard the previous version, you would just be saying to yourself, "This is an amazing band." But you're comparing it, and I think that's kind of wrong to do, almost. You know, it's like they're all their own. They all have their own character to them, and we wouldn't have had those other iterations and continued Neil Morse music how he left. So again, I guess it was a blessing in disguise probably at the time, you know, for fans anyway, I think.
Okay, I'd like to follow on a little bit, Colin, on what Ted just said for Nick's band. Big Big Train is another great band that I don't know if folks here haven't heard of them, but they have listened. So my question is more of an idea and to see how you guys might shoot it down. Between the acoustic set last night and sort of the banner between Casey and Neil, and then the unbelievable jamming that was going on this morning, it was really cool and how it was informal and how you guys were just working together. It looked like some of you were even put on the spot. It was just, it was really fun to watch as a fan. So the idea struck me as I was sitting here, and this might be just crazy, but what do you think of the idea of maybe sitting down and showing us how a song gets created? Not now, obviously, because it's not a simple process, but maybe at another Morsefest, maybe there's an hour or something where you go through the creative process of showing us how some of these songs come to fruition. Just an idea. See if you guys have any comments about that.
I think there's kind of a question in there, you know, it's like what is the process? And the answer I know for me is it depends on, you know, the day and what song. Sometimes it's sitting there with an acoustic and humming the melody. Sometimes it's starting with a drum pattern on my, you know, in my recording software and writing a riff around it. And I think for Neil, it just all explodes in his brain all at the same time, and then 3 hours of music come out. But the rest of us mortals, we have to struggle. So.
I have to have a sex too.
That has never been said on this stage, probably ever. I can't imagine a Sunday morning. So there's firsts.
Does it sound good? There you go. Hey guys. The three frontmen. I'm curious, you know, for the first 6 albums, Neil, a lot of the songs that you were writing that we just know and love so much. And reading your autobiography, it sounds like you were having some really hard times in your life and real challenges, which, as a fan, you would never know because you're just like, oh my God, this music's so incredible. They're having so much fun on stage. They must be living the life. And so that time's gone by, and now you're in this other place in life. I'm wondering what it's like for you when you sing those songs now. Do you reflect on where you were at the time and like, God, I was just in the gutter then, and so do you sing it from another place now, or has it changed at all, or do you enjoy going back to that vibe at the time? And then for the other guys, Dick and Ted, I mean, what was it like for you coming in and singing those songs also, where now you're the lead guy and you're doing it, but you're coming from your own place? Do you have any of maybe Neil's emotional content going on in your head, or do you kind of reinvent it for yourself?
Yeah, sometimes I connect with, my valley of death period of my life, which was really kind of more like 91 to 94, 95. When Spock started to happen, that's really the beginning of my kind of what I would call, resurrection period or whatever. But yeah, I'm glad now, that I went through all that so I can write about it from a place of like, of knowing what that's like. And it makes it all worthwhile because there's something about hearing people sing about that kind of despair that I think we all at some level go through at some point. And there's something about that that really connects, and then you can help, pull people out of that. I think that's sort of the point, and makes it all worth it now. But and sometimes I can connect to it, sometimes I can't so much, and you sing it, and if you can't connect to it, you hope that the music and the words will connect to it with the people anyway. And sometimes that's better because, if I'm just going to be an emotional wreck, I'm not going to be able to sing it anyway. So y'all pray for me tonight.
I don't know how you get through Jada. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I was in the back just losing it like a sissy girl. I mean, I don't know how you sang that song.
It must have been the Lord. That was the first time I think I've ever done it and not cried.
I guess the second part of that question, what is it like to, and Nick, feel free to jump in, about singing songs that, well, I mean, the reason why I was so quick to say yes to this band is because I was so inspired by all of that writing that happened on those first 6 albums. Singing songs like Healing Colors of Sound, there have definitely been moments on stage where I've gotten choked up. With Neil's lyrics from those days too, these days there's always this very distinct purpose behind his lyrics, but back in those days some of them were kind of cryptic almost, almost kind of, and he would even say, so it's usually a phrase that I connect with. It's very rare that the whole song has one meaning really back in those days, but Healing Colors of Sound, I remember, children yet to be born, don't you mourn me now. For some reason that struck me, and honestly, I couldn't even explain what that line means, But anyway, yeah. So I was so inspired by all those songs. Of course, they definitely reach me, and affect me while singing. So.
For me, I think I took a different path to singing the older songs, and even the songs that I was kind of involved with. It was more like I was given the opportunity to become the lead singer, thankfully, with the guys, and I sort of took more of like an entertainer sort of path to singing those tunes. I just wanted to give the best performance I possibly could with those tunes. I tried to internalize the lyrics as much as I could, and I was just trying to think about how I could, emote that emotion from spot to spot in the song. If it was an older Spock's tune. The newer ones that we were kind of all wrote together, and some of the ones that I wrote together, that was a little more, internal feeling that I got from those tunes. But I was just trying to rock out the best I could and just put on the best show I could. And it was definitely, I'm sure, obviously it was different than the way Neil did it, but I was just trying to give the best performance I possibly could and have those tunes come across and entertain the people that were coming to see the gig. It was kind of the way my brain was putting it all together.
Mainly we were probably just trying to keep our feet from falling out of these massive shoes that we had to step into.
Gentlemen, good afternoon. Kevin, represent New Jersey. Anyway, from a retrospective and a look ahead, thank you for sharing and filling in so many of the gaps that we'd like to know for us today. But looking back, what are you most proud of? And looking ahead, what's not perfect yet?
I'm proud of all of it. There's really not anything that we've done, that I've been involved a really good run. The band's still going. They're still making killer music. So thankfully it's not over yet for Spots. They're still trudging forward. But I don't regret anything. I think it's just a killer run, and I'm just thankful to be in the band for that long. And it's some of the best music I've ever been involved with. So it's a total blast.
For me, as an outside kind of guy, they just hand me the music when it's kind of put together. With Spots, I'm there for a lot of the new Spots. I'm there for the creation of it. But the attention to detail that this band puts into everything is kind of makes every song special in its own unique way, is what I find. The serious attention to detail and don't give up until somebody's feeling it, That's what gets me.
I've done it long enough to regret anything.
It's great just to be able to, sometimes, when I get kind of down or something, I just go, well, one thing I did is I made some kick-ass records that I'm real proud of, and so that's pretty awesome, You can't take that away from you, so that's awesome.
All right, we got time for one more.
Hi guys, Mark from Grand Rapids, Michigan. The crazy... 72.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah. The crazy lyrics. Milk with Tabasco, Tuesdays we get Jello if we're good, there's a stain on my shirt.
I had mustard today.
Yeah. After you write some of that stuff, do you go, I can't believe I just wrote it? And in particular on the Light CD, the song The Water, F you, I'm sorry. What's going on there? And if you could do like a PG version of how that came about.
Well, that's where I was at when I wrote that. That was from my heart at that time. And that was kind of how I lived in a way. It was like super angry and I'm sorry all the time. It was just really... What's that?
Yeah.
And, that's probably why I drank a lot, and all of that, I just was going through that.
I remember, we had a story, give you a quick story. We had a big earthquake out in California many years ago before we started the band, and right around that time. Anyway, and Kitty and I, my wife, lived close by, and so, we figured we would go and see Neil and make sure he's okay and everything. We drove over to his house, and he was still in bed. He was just like, oh, whatever, man. It was just like, all this stuff was all laying on the ground. It's like, didn't even get up. Just like, yeah.
I scraped the broken glass off my bed and went back to bed. I was like, oh man, my cigarettes fell.
Really, what are you going to do? If you get up, it's dark and...
Dave finds reason.
You might as well get a good night's sleep.
Well, everybody was out of their houses because of the gas lines. Stuff might blow, and I'm like, I hope it does. Yeah, that's where I was at.
I like you better now. I didn't know you then, but I like you better now.
We all do.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for answering questions. And we'll get ready for meet and greet.
Thanks for coming, guys.